that strong arm, strong and free, right there.
Yeah.
It's in your gut.
Yeah.
We got you.
Yeah. It's. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure, buddy. It's all good, man. All good, man.
Hi, I'm Sean.
Oh, that's so hard for me.
Our last speaker probably doesn't need much of an introduction. Pat King, Canadian activist and a passionate Albertan, is probably, well, I would say for me, the most well-recognized of the convoy individuals, with the possible exception of Tamara Lich. Now, he was arrested in February of 2022 during the protest, and was initially denied bail for 4 months. Now, one of the things I mentioned it earlier, I was hoping to hear a little bit more about it, but how the process, okay, it is the punishment often. So he was denied bail initially for 4 months. Later on, he got bail, he was out, and then they dragged him back in for a week for an alleged violation. After a week, he was let out still with even stricter conditions. Now, in May of 2024, he was convicted on 5 charges of mischief, counseling to commit mischief, and disobeying a court order, and was sentenced to 3 months, effectively house arrest. The Crown had been out for 10 years, was what they wanted. Now, to come in with a sentence of 3 months of a house arrest versus 10 years is a massive win, the likes of which should not be understated. But it is the process. He did not get those years back. He did not get that time back. We literally have murderers, rapists, child molesters walking free because we can't get them to trial fast enough. How many hours of courtroom time, how many hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal, if not millions, in legal fees were spent for 3 months of house arrest? Please. All right? That's not the way our system should work, and we need to do better. But here to talk about his experiences, Pat King, over to you.
Thanks, John. How's it going, guys? First and foremost, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. And wow, what a turnout. So kudos to all you guys for coming up. Dr. Hoff, the legend, the myth himself. Kudos, Dr. Hoff. John, you kind of got one thing wrong. It was 5 months without bail, but that's okay. Who's counting? I'm pretty sure there's still 30 notches on the wall that I remember. But yeah, what a trip, right? We went from this extreme high where Canada was united, people across the highway absolutely loving what we were doing, cheering us on from all angles, you know, and those that participated online, followed us online, supported us online, that's all you guys. Kudos. We needed you. You were our hope. But then all of a sudden we seen what happened when they come in. We saw what the breakdown in communications in Ottawa, and all of a sudden we start getting the shit kicked out of us. It was bad. We saw it. We witnessed it. I get myself arrested. I go to jail. But I think there's a lot of things to this that you guys don't know is what they tried to do to me while I was in jail. They isolated me for 63 days. For the first 14 days, I was isolated without any contact with anybody. Lights were turned on for 24 hours a day. I didn't know what day was what. Until they forced me to try and shove a stick up my nose to see if I was COVID-free. And I fought. And I fought and I screamed. And I said, you're not sticking that thing up my nose? What do you think I'm in here for? It's because I won't stick that son of a bitchin' thing up my nose. And when they forced me to do it and I pushed back, I got 6 guards trying to hold my hands, almost breaking my wrists to stick that thing up my nose, and I still didn't stick that thing up my nose. As much as I was in jail, they isolated me because I wouldn't stick that thing up my nose for another 28 more days, 24-hour lockdown, and this time, because I fought back, they decided to stick me in what's called isolation, or the hole, or what is called ADSEG. I slept on a concrete brick with a fire blanket, no cushions, no bed, on the bricks. I was totally isolated from the public for 63 days. Never saw anybody. No visitors. The odd phone call, because that's your right. I didn't get a shower for 18 days. I was held against my will. I wasn't allowed to talk to lawyers some days. I was threatened by the guards. I was threatened by inmates. Some guards told me, hey, why don't we just take you down? I know where there's no cameras. We'll just go down and hide behind there. I want to be known as the guy that knocked Pat King out in jail. I said, let's go. You want to do it, buddy? Let's go. I never lost that drive. But when they knew they weren't beating me, although it was hard, I never let them see me crater. I never let them see me cower. I never let them see me cry. And I cried. I mean, if any man in here says he went to jail and he was isolated for 63 days without his family and said he didn't cry, he's a liar. Because it's a tough thing to do. So because I didn't, cower, I didn't say, oh, I'm just going to go along with this and stick that thing up my nose. They decided to one-up me. They sent me into what's called maximum security. You guys know I was charged with a mischief. I don't have a mean bone. Well, I can't say that. I got a mean bone in my body, but at that time, I didn't have any justification to be put into maximum security penitentiary. Locked down 24 hours a day. But they put me in the cage with a particular inmate who was a known gangbanger, double homicide, has already done 18 months in this cage. And he had that stare that they all talk about, that 1,000-yard stare. He can look right through your back of your head if he wanted to. And I remember sitting in that cell with him and always with my back against the wall, always looking. Every time he made a move, I made a move the opposite direction. Kept good cordial invite, good cordial conversation. But one day, this guy, and I knew he had my number, and I know that's why they put me in that cell. They were setting me up. We knew it. I knew it. Your gut tells you this is what they want you in here for. And he gets out. Every 3 days, we get out for a phone call out of maximum security. You get a 20-minute phone call, one phone call. And all of a sudden, he comes back from his phone call, and he walks into the cell, and I'm waiting for my turn. And he says, well, I guess you're not too bad, are you? I said, what do you mean? He says, well, now I know who you are. You're that guy that was doing all that truck stuff in downtown Ottawa. I'm like, oh, shit. This is the gangbanger who thinks he runs Ottawa. Uh-oh. He says, yeah, I just went out and had my phone call, and I talked to my mom. She says I'm to protect you. It turns out his mom was the lady that came down to Kent Street and cooked the big pig for us. So she told him to make sure to take care of me. If that wasn't divine intervention by God, I don't know what was. So I learned the inside, and I got a really good look at what it was like on the inside, what our people are going through in jails and in their situations. So I'm still in this section of the jail. It's called One Wing. And in One Wing, it's 24 hours lockdown. I'm starting to kind of get settled in, about 30 days into this. And if you know prisons or whatever, they have this, in this one anyways, this particular one, they have a long corridor so that if an inmate escapes from his cell and they see him, he's got to run this corridor, and it gives them a time to isolate him in that corridor. So they call it the chute. And I can hear down the chute, and I've got my head against, because I can hear some ruckus down the chute. And I got my ear to my cell door, and I can hear, where is he? Who in the hell told you to put him up here? Are you guys trying to get him killed? We've been looking for him for 2 weeks, and not one person in this institution knew where he was. And you're telling me he's here in One Wing? All of a sudden, you hear the keys, ching, 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 boom, boom, boom. And I'm still with my ear to the wall. I'm like, what the hell's going on, man? Some entertainment. Right on, let's see. And all of a sudden, I get on my door. Boom, boom, boom. King, pack your shit. You're leaving. I'm like, what? there was some guards that were on our side that fought to get me transferred out of one wing. In all of this isolation, I'm questioning, I'm thinking, I'm missing my boys, I'm missing my family. I missed my kid's graduation. Father doesn't miss his kid's graduation. I missed moments, birthdays, I missed a lot of things. But throughout all of it, I learned a lot about who I was, believe it or not. You get a really good inside look into the person you are when you're isolated. When you know you stood up for your rights, you stood up for your heart and what you felt was the truth, like Dr. Hoff says, the truth. And I knew I was in the right spot. I knew that I was put into this place for a reason. It didn't break me, although it did, but it showed me who the hell I really was. It gave me strength to know that I can endure this again. It gave me the power to know that no matter how much he puts on my shoulders, it's only enough that I can take. And at this time, I see where we're at today. We're still in a mess. It's tough out there. I see it. They shut me down. They took away, when I finally got released on bail after 5 months, I was given the harshest conditions that any Canadian has ever had. I lost my freedom of speech, my freedom of peaceful assembly, my freedom to protest, my freedom to bank, because they froze my bank accounts for 3 years. I'm the only one who had their bank accounts frozen for 3 years. I just got them back last April. And then when they took them back, they took all the money out and stuck it in escrow and froze it. So I'm left with nothing. Although I got a bank account, I got no money. But it still showed me that, hey, you want to hit me, keep hitting. What else are you going to take from me? But in all of that we went through, I find the strength in it and the perseverance to keep going. Because I know we need to keep fighting. We need to keep sticking up for ourselves. We need to keep standing up for our rights. Because if we don't, they're just going to take it. So in sitting here through the conditions I went through, and they were long and they were tough. I was under house arrest for 3 years, curfew from 10 o'clock till 6, door knocks at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they love to come to my door and knock on it. I didn't get to sleep. I don't sleep anymore. I sleep for a few hours. I have serious PTSD from it. I'm not going to lie. They would come to my door while I was on house arrest, and they would bang on it like they're kicking the door in at 1:30, 3:30, 4:30 in the morning. They loved it. The RCMP loved to come to my house. I wasn't allowed on social media, and we all know my presence on social media was pretty big at the time. So at that point, I'm like, oh man, I can't even be on social media. But in all of it, I looked at it as a blessing in disguise. I got to sit back. I got to watch all the work you guys were doing. I got to watch everybody now talking, which was awesome, because now I didn't have to do it all. Just kidding. But it was nice to see people were empowered to speak up. People were willing to get out of their comfort zone and stand up for themselves. And I felt amazing when I saw that. Because now it kind of gave you guys that inspiration that you can do it too. And I know a lot of people out there are like, man, I can't go to jail. I got too much shit on the go. And I understand. I totally understand. But when I went to jail, I thought the same thing. When they went and brought me through trial, I thought this is the end of the world. I'm getting 10 years, man. Because we all know we did some stuff while we were there. Although we figured we were protected under this beautiful thing called the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Well, it ain't worth the piss paper it's printed on. We seen that in our trial. You see, the courts were manipulated to use the Criminal Code of Canada against us, not the Emergencies Act. So for all those wondering if we're going to get pardoned or anything like that, we're not. They're not going to stay all of that. We were charged under the Criminal Code. But for those that had their bank accounts frozen, under the Emergencies Act. Those that were hit and beaten and pummeled by law enforcement under the Emergencies Act. Those people have lawsuits, big lawsuits. And I'm encouraging all those people to get a hold of me because I've got hours of footage. And I've got officers' names. And I know all of the politicians that were involved in all of the freezing of bank accounts. So I'm still here after all of this. I'm not giving up. You guys never gave up on me, and I'm never going to give up on you. And I make that a solemn promise. You see, it takes individuals to make a community. One person brings people together. We have a whole room here of people that can bring everybody together again. In your communities, we're looking for solutions, things that are going on. There's a new thing out online, just for things for anybody who's looking. It's called barterit.com. You know about it? I've just become a spokesperson for Barter It, so I'll be promoting that as well. And that's a community within your community of trading services to get away from money when they take the money away. You accumulate your coin systems through your trades. It has an option to put fiat currency in there if you want. You don't have to. But you can trade goods with each other in your communities. Like what we did when back in the day when my mom would grow her garden, the neighbor would grow their garden, and then my mom would grow potatoes, beets, carrots, and my neighbor would grow cabbage, broccoli, celery. And we would go over at the end of the year and we would trade across the fence and split our gardens between each other's, between our families. We can get back to that again. They got other instances. You need a new floor in your house. They've got textile companies that are on board with it. I really highly recommend. I don't want to go into too much depth on it, but there's a solution coming out of that. But one of the big steps that I'm taking, and I am taking one, is I've joined up with a group, and you might all be familiar with it, called Turning Point Canada. It's like Turning Point USA and what Charlie Kirk was doing, only we're not anything like that PSYOP that is Turning Point USA. Just so you know. And we made sure. We took their name, we registered it, and we are allowed to use it. But we're going to carry on that same message. We're going to go into the schools. We're going to go into empowering our youth. We're going to be going and visiting, holding debates across Canada. And you guys are the first ones where I'm launching this for everybody all right now. You're the first ones that I'm telling about this because we weren't ready, but our website is up now, Turning Point USA. And I feel with what I've... What's that? Oh, shit. Sorry. Sorry. It's just a force of habit. But these are ways that we're trying to come out of these storms. John said, the Israelites, they came out of the wilderness. Well, I was in the wilderness. I came out. I'm still here. I ain't giving up. But what I've done now is tactfully, I learned how these guys play. I learned how this court system works. I learned how these law enforcements work. And what I really learned was how bad these elites won't want me to talk. So little events like this spreads the word. But when we're in the schools and we're garnering our youth and we're getting the attention of the scholaries and we're empowering our youth to speak up, because I know there's generations of young kids now that have come up in this second wave of this DEI, LGBTQ, I call them the Rainbow Mafia. Not the Alphabet Soup Gang, but the Rainbow Mafia. Our younger kids, and my son is a product of this, he just blocks it out. He won't talk about it. He won't confront it. He won't get up there and discuss it because he gets canceled, and nobody wants to be canceled. We all know what cancel culture is, right? So they don't fight it. They just don't talk about it. They don't care about it. But if we give them a platform where our younger generation now has mentorship, a community, and a voice, and we empower that younger generation, we can still hold on to this. We can still continue to fight. I know the crowd in here, we're all getting up there. I'm not that old yet, but I'm pushing 49. I'll be 50 next year. I'm looking at not as spry as I once was, you know. Although I can still swing, don't ever try, but I can still swing. But who is going to fight for me when I'm older? The younger generation is 2 generations of not knowing how to stand up for themselves. Their teachers have taught them to stay quiet, stay in your desk, do as I tell you, don't talk back, don't ask out the box, stay within the program. So now we give these kids, and I've had these discussions, talk to me. Online, if you followed me on my TikToks, I've been doing really good engaging with the left. And I mean it. I've swung them right over to our side. I have them messaging my fiance. That's not Pat King. That's not the Pat King I seen. He was a monster. He just didn't like us. But that's not him. What did you do to him? And she said, that's who he is. I've always been open to listening, but I won't put up with stupidity. I won't put up with rage bait. I won't put up with just arguing for the sake of, I just raged a boomer. If you want to have a good conversation with me, sit down. Let's chat. I want to learn about what you're learning, and I want you to learn about what I'm learning. And we've been able to bridge that gap quite a bit. And it's given me that encouragement to maybe not so much in a political direction, because we all know they ain't letting me into their club. I ain't one of them, and they know it. I hate both sides of this bird. I think what we need is a total electoral reform from the ground up. I think this system is archaic that we live in now. It's designed in the 1600s and the 1800s. Well, I don't know about you guys, but it's 2026. It doesn't pay for us anymore. I never seen it before when your lawyer looks at the guy who's trying to stick you in jail for 10 years and calls them his friend. That ain't your friend. This guy's trying to put me into jail for 10 years, and I just paid you $180,000 so that you can call him your friend? I know when John said, you know, Pat got another charge, they threw him back into jail, and they breached me. That was right after my trial, because the Crown knew he lost. So he wanted to slap me again. But people were conspiring to get me thrown back into jail under a breach. You guys know those breach charges were dropped? They dropped them because they didn't have the right evidence. And actually, what they did was, in the judicial system and the way it works for you to be charged, is the law enforcement has to find you committing an act. They take that evidence, they go to the Crown, and they say to the Crown, do we have enough evidence here for you to charge him? And the Crown makes a decision. In my case, the Crown had the evidence, and the Crown went to the law enforcement and said, put a charge together, come back at me when you got it together and we'll charge him. That's a direct violation of judicial process. The Crown does not get to put you in jail. So that's how we got it. And he knew he was going to lose. So instead they said, we're going to give you a stay in the charges. And I stood there, I told my lawyer, I said, no, I want this to go to trial. I don't want to stay. I want this proven that I'm not guilty. The judge wouldn't hear it. The judge said, no, we're just going to stay the charges. Don't waste my time. But that's my right. So when we talk about the judicial system being absolutely corrupted, you're right. Dr. Hoff. It is. What they've done to him, what they've done to me, what they've done to others. It is. It's horrible. Ask me if I'll do it again. In a heartbeat. I would take to those roads again if I knew what we were standing for was for the right, for the truth, and if we turned it into the same old party that we had last time. But please check out TURINGPointCanada.com. I just want to read out what we've got here on our mission statement. We are actually full-on professionals. I have a security detail, so there'll be no what happened down at the university in the United States to that young gentleman, even though I said I'd never wear a mic. That's a kind of inside joke. Okay, so Turning Point Canada. So I am the senior administrator, senior advisor, marketing, social media, and professional speaker for Turning Point Canada. We're encouraging people to get on board. If you want to build a Turning Point Canada in your own communities here in Vancouver Island, we're looking to open up branches here in Vancouver Island. We're looking at formulating branches all across Canada so you can empower your communities and get into speaking to your youth. So it's encouraging to see Canadian. Let me just zoom it in. I'm getting old and my eyes are getting bad. Don't tell everybody. Okay. It's encouraging to see Canadians come together like we are here tonight, not out of fear or division, but out of conviction. Literally. I'm a convict now. Conviction is in our values, in our responsibility as citizens, and in the future we owe to the next generation. Turning Point Canada is a youth-led grassroots movement dedicated to defending the foundational values upon which this country was built on: faith, family, freedom of speech, personal responsibility, and national sovereignty. For too long, Canadians have been encouraged to remain silent. Turning Point Canada exists because silence is no longer acceptable. We believe a healthy nation depends on its citizens willing to speak openly and responsibly about its future. At the core of this movement is a firm commitment to freedom of speech and freedom of thought. These freedoms are the foundation of a democratic society. One of our central missions is empowering young Canadians to think critically, speak with confidence, and act with integrity. Our mission is clear: to unite Canadians around enduring values and restore confidence in Canada's future. For God, for country, and for the true North, strong and free. I appreciate you guys coming tonight and participating. I have one favor to ask, and I'm not asking, but I'm just kind of throwing it out there. The Crown did file an appeal on my case, and I am responsible for my lawyer fees. All I say is, if you can write this down, it's patkingapealfund@gmail.com. If you care to donate to that, it goes directly to the lawyers, does not go to me. I kept it the same as before. I've been trying to find work, but HRs are liking checking out your social medias, and it's been a little tough. So I appreciate everybody having me out, and to everybody here, stay the course, hold the line, and keep up the good fight, man.